Hey everyone, welcome to Collector Chatter. Thrilljoy Mega PIX finally came out, but we have some controversy because they hiked the prices, and we can't wait to talk about it because it was very controversial.
Collecting is the way.
Now sit back for the thrill of the episode, and let's have some joy. Let's chat.
Hey everyone, welcome to Collector Chatter. This is episode 114. I am Miggs. I'm here with Charlie and Trey. We are Collector Chatter. Can't wait to talk to you guys about all the latest news, including, like I said in the intro, Thrilljoy. We've been talking about that a ton because it's been what's hot right now.
That's all anyone cares about.
Definitely, it's been dominating the news of the collecting world, but some kind of controversial news recently, and we're going to talk about it because we want to give you our take on this new product that came out, the way it was rolled out, whatever. And we're going to kind of tell you the truth of what we think. And then we'll go into some other stuff related to Thrilljoy, and then even some Funko news. We haven't talked about Funko too much, but we do have some stuff coming out, some news, some different pops and stuff, and some kind of things on the NFT side as well. So, but we'll start it off, I want to say, probably with the Thrilljoy news because, like I said, that's obviously the biggest thing since New York Comic-Con. This is been all over the place, and it's been doing pretty well as a company with everything that they've been coming out with. Granted, a lot of those picks that came out, they're still up, so they haven't really sold, which is kind of another interesting tidbit. But the biggest news was the biggest product they have was the Mega PIX. So, of course, these were the 12-inch giant versions that we saw at Comic-Con. They gave them out at Comic-Con. They weren't for sale because, as we saw on the panel, Brian said they weren't really ready, which was interesting. But I'm glad that, they took their time and they came out with it. But what are your guys' thoughts initially of the product itself? And then we'll kind of go into what happened with this little drop. But I mean, I think we've kind of talked about it before, but let us know again, Charlie. What do you think?
I'll talk about it again. I mean, this product is sick. I mean, I'm super excited to get my hands on one of them. The one that they just launched wasn't one that I wanted to add to my collection, even though it was super cool. I ultimately think, even though obviously the PIX line that we've all seen that people have in their hands is going to be their bread and butter, I feel like this product is going to be what really, once people all have them in their hands, are really going to be talking about the quality. And I just think they're super cool and they're unique. And I also like that it has accessories. You can take them apart and swap. I mean, no one's even really talking about this, but you can even have fun if you have more than one. And you can even be swapping, you could be putting a freaking sword on Freddy Krueger if you wanted to, if you had the Ninja Turtles one. I mean, not that many people are going to do that, but you could. There's just stuff like that I think, even with the controversy, it's still a super cool product. I don't know, what do you think, Trey?
I agree too. I mean, I didn't get to see them in hand like y'all did. And I know y'all said that the product in person looks really, really good. It's high quality. I know you said also too in the last episode that, the Sunday people did get to take some of them home. So hopefully whoever got those, actually did a closer or review or a closer look at them. That way, people can see what, those products are. And I know, we've talked about the price point, at what it was and then what it is now. I kind of still feel like it is a good price considering the accessories. The arms can move and stuff like that. And like you said, you can move, different hands. You can put the claw on a Ninja Turtle or whatever it is down the line. But I like them. I still will probably get one. I don't think I'll get two or anything like that, but I'll definitely get one.
Yeah, I agree. It's sick seeing it in person. We've talked about it on here. We've had videos, shorts, whatever it is, and obviously we're hyping it up because we are excited about it. We are fans. Clearly, the three of us like it, but we do have our certain things that we're not big fans of how they do things, or whatever. And every company's going to kind of have that, but it's just the way it is, and not everyone's perfect, but we love the product itself, and I totally agree with Trey. The price point that, first the price point that it was at, and then the price point that it was changed to, which I'll tell you in a second. But just real quick, within those price points, I still think like, yes, it's worth it. These products are definitely high end. They're done really well. Like you said, the arms are like, I forgot what the wording is, but they move,
They articulate.
yeah. So you can move and stop and whatever. And then you can magnetically take out the hands, which is sick because it's so much easier to change than like NECA figure or another figure where you have to like pop things in and out. It's like so different. So it's done so easily. It makes it easy for you. Now, another thing that we don't usually talk about is the box itself. Like these boxes are super high end. They have the magnetic flaps on some of the boxes. Like they're meant to be more like high end luxury. Like that was Brian's big thing, is like he looked at brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all these people and was like, they make these certain products. I want to make a similar thing, but in a collectible world, right? But the big thing and the controversy is obviously the day before. So this dropped on Halloween, which was interesting. It was a horror figure, Freddy Krueger. So, you know, perfect timing. All right, cool. Their blog that they came out with, which I did want to go over a little bit, was tailored towards the whole, like, you know, you're not dreaming. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. Like, you know, they clearly made the play on words with everything with Freddy Krueger and whatever. It is what it is. But it's a little corny. But the biggest thing is that came out on the 30th, which is the day before. And in that post, when they said, hey, this is coming out tomorrow, Halloween. Oh, but surprise, it's $50 more. And I think that's when everyone kind of was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Because at the 125 point that it was definitely priced at everywhere. Like when they first announced it, when they talked about it, when they had it on the website, and then suddenly they all were off the website and they were only showing the Freddy. Like they just didn't do it right, I think. If it was at 175 from the beginning, I don't think as many people would be complaining. Granted, it's high and people probably aren't going to buy it, like if they don't want to because it's too expensive. But I just think it was just sneaky the way they did it, if I'm being honest. And their kind of the reason behind it, it probably is true, but it just is a weird look. Like obviously they said they had to wait because they didn't like the original like molds and things that were coming in, so they had to make changes to them. And clearly that probably costs money. So like at the end of the day, that's probably the price point they need to be profitable. And is it worth it? Yes. But does it mean everyone's going to go after it? No, probably not. This is definitely not a product that's going to be for everybody. At the end of the day, that's kind of like the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, to go off of what you're saying, one thing they definitely should not have done is, because one thing in the blog, and I'm curious if either of you read it this way, they kind of acted like this was just for the Freddy. That there are certain parts of the Freddy that they realized they needed to up the price. They didn't necessarily say all Mega PIX were going to be 175. However, the fact, like Meg said, they pulled them all down. They only left this one up.
I'm rereading it.
Yeah.
And okay, and what is it like?
Yeah, because it literally says like, here's the trick: Mega PIX is priced at 175. It doesn't say Freddy. It doesn't say Blue. Okay. It literally says like Mega PIX, meaning the product itself.
Yeah. So now that is confirmed, I'm going to be a little harsher. They never in a million years should have put a price on a website. There are some people in the community who are going around saying that this was never official. No, it was official. It was on their website. It was talked about. Brian said it. It came out of his mouth multiple times at New York Comic Con. Everyone knows I'm a Brian Sweaty, but I'm going to give him a little bit of a knock for that one because I know they're saying, oh, you're a startup. We're only 4 people, yada, yada, yada. Dude, you should have known that. And maybe it wasn't his fault. Someone gave him bad information, but they should have just never had a price. If they knew they weren't going to sell it, they should have just said Mega PIX are coming and called it a day. It looks really bad because, once again, I was under the impression that, maybe because Freddy has the hat that comes off or this or that one was only going to be more money. And once again, if they launch it saying 175, no one would have questioned it because everyone is still on the positive note being like, well, you know, that other company, aka Funko, they're selling their crappy designer toys for $300. So this is still way cheaper, higher quality, cooler looking. I can go on and on and on, but a bad PR move, bad marketing move, rookie mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that too, you know, because like I mentioned before in the last episode, 125 was a good price, and like for me, honestly, it's probably gonna be like a one and done. Like I wouldn't get I'll just get one depending on what it is. But if it is, I probably will still be that way too, with one and done as far as the Mega PIX. I don't think I'll buy multiples. It's not like, other companies where you buy more than one to get the chase or whatever. It's definitely like, okay, cool, I got one. I got it. Especially for me, we talked about how we have different fandoms, right? So obviously Migs isn't really going to go for like the TMNT, or certain ones that he doesn't need in his collection. I'm sure the Freddy one was going to be one that he was going to get. But yeah, I think for me, the price point, it still might even be hard. It might be one of those, I might have that FOMO and be like, dang, I really need it. Do I need it? And then kind of like with the NFTs, I just, okay, cool, I'll buy it. If not, if I miss it, I miss it. If I get it, I'm cool with that too. But yeah, that price is definitely something that shouldn't have probably gone out. But then again, I know you said you would give him like some slack because of, or kind of give him a knock because of that. But it's at the same time, the company started 4 months ago, even though he should be a veteran of the running companies. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of give him some slack for that. Just
yeah. It's really hard for me to give him the slack on that, or I'm not even. Oh, it's Brian's company, so at the end of the day, even if Brian didn't make this decision or he was unaware, he's the CEO, he's the creator, he should have known better.
Yeah.
It's just it's just such a bad look to me. Like, once again, I'm not arguing the price because I personally still think it is a good price.
Yeah.
125 when talking out loud about it, it probably was too good to be true. Even the 175, I'm sure they're not making too much money off of it, but who knows? I mean, even though it's high quality, this still stuff is still cheap to make. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But once again, I still want, like, I'll probably I'm not going to be buying a ton of them either. I could see myself getting more than one, but yeah, like, it's kind of a pick and choose, and I'm not going to be like, there's certain people who bought two because they're trying to get for the chase. Like, I think that's crazy for this.
Yeah. I'm never gonna be in that, but I'm the same way where it's like, if it's something I absolutely like am super fandom of, like even though I'm a huge horror fan, I'm not like the biggest Freddy Krueger fan specifically. So like that was like a cool one, but it wasn't one that I was like, yeah, I absolutely have to get it. Like, it would have to be like a Ghostface or Michael Myers or a Joker or something like that for me to be like, regardless, I'm going to get one type of thing. But I'm in the same boat. Like, I can get one and I'll be totally fine with it. If I have to get two, or I feel like I want to get two, it would potentially be if it's a blue as something, and then maybe one of the ones that's just straight IP, because they are going to have some of those.
Agreed.
And maybe just like leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I mean, it's expensive. Like, we have money to spend, and we can do it here and there, but like, it's still pretty pricey. So like, you got to be smart with what you're getting. And like you said, it's big, so like, you can't have too many of them. Like, granted, I started going crazy with the 10-inch Funko Pops because like, I was like, oh, these look amazing, and I would get another one, and like, those were priced at like, what, $50 or whatever. Like, there's a big difference in price. So like, it was a little easier to kind of drop on here or there, or buy one on Whatnot or something for $20 or 25, or they were on sale, and like, you find them cheaper. But you're probably not going to see this ever going like on sale. And like, that's why I do see the point of like, yeah, this is worth that because of what it is. And it's 125. Yeah, it does sound funny now to hear, because you're like, you know what, that actually was pretty cheap for what this actually is. But I just didn't like the way they did this whole little, like, out of nowhere. And like, to go back to the blog thing, like the way they worded it, because it was a Halloween and it was like trick or treat, and it was like all treats, no tricks. Okay, maybe one trick. And they were like, well, here's the trick. It's going to actually be 175. Like that, although they're trying to be like cheeky and funny, like, to me, that's kind of like a slap in the face of like,
yes,
oh, we messed up. We didn't know what we were doing. We're going to try to play it off to see if you guys think it's funny. But I don't think it went out that way. And I agree with both of you. Like, yeah, this, like, Brian's done this for so long. Like, he should be on top of this. but at the same time, I can see how fast they did a lot. Like, bro, we were at the event and we said we couldn't
Yeah.
believe some of the stuff they did in this amount of time. And the fact that it barely have employees, like I can see how stuff will slip through the crack, and that's fine. And if they own up to it, and they kind of did, they did say like, you know, we had a lot of issues, things had to get changed. They changed it 7 to 8 different times, revisions. Like they're probably not assuming that's going to happen. And with they're clearly exporting stuff. They're bringing stuff from China and stuff. Like we know this already. Like one of their big top players is coming from China manufacturing. So we know that in this economy, things are kind of a mess in a way of like pricing and all that kind of stuff. So like that's probably what happened, and like it makes sense. It's just the way the whole marketed it. It was just weird. I don't know.
And
I wasn't a fan of that part.
another thing too, which not to blast them, but because I want Thrilljoy to like us. They were being really unprofessional on social media as well, in my opinion, for a company. They were answering back to people who had negative bully type comments, which I get, but two wrongs don't make a right. And they were kind of like giving it back to them when people were like, oh, they're doing this because PIX didn't sell out and they need to make up some money. And then like, I mean, I don't need to say what was said word for word, but instead of just ignoring those comments, which a company like that should do, they were like going back at them and saying like nasty stuff back, which I just didn't think was cool. And that entire day of that they probably thought was going to be so amazing for this Halloween drop, I think took a few notches down for the hype for the company, if I am being completely honest.
And that's crazy because probably a few days before that, I had saw somebody commented on one of their posts, and he actually has a pretty good following in the Funko community. And he was just kind of going all in, like pretty much talking bad about him. And, they responded, professionally, like, if you have any concerns or if you have any issues, feel free to reach out to us in a private setting or, go, whatever the case may be. But it's just weird that you say that, because I literally was going through the comments. I was like, man, this guy was like literally like going into him. And then they were just kind of like, well, taking the high road initially. And
which
then
is what you should do.
Right.
Yeah.
And so again, I don't know, maybe other people are doing the social media. I don't know, but that person that day did good. I guess that person that day did not.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably going to see a lot of that. It's so brand new and they're getting new people. It's probably going to be yin and yang, and we're going to have to figure out like who's actually doing this, who's actually doing that. And I mean, we've seen that in Funko over the years where you can tell different people were handling different things, whether it was social media or their email customer service or whatever it was. Like you would get a completely different person that was completely, nicer or not. And it's like, it's kind of, I guess, the way it is. But it is interesting that you saw both sides of it on
and I did see some media. Of the comments that you're talking about, Trey. It was almost, they pulled the complete 180. It was almost just like, we're not answering anything. And then people were like, oh, this is just like Funko. They're just not going to tell you anything.
Oh,
and then it went like...
maybe they got offended. They were just like, you know what? Maybe it was Brian got on the social media and was like, I'm going to stand by my company. I don't know. But nonetheless, I mean, it was both sides, Yeah.
But like, this hasn't like taken us away from like enjoying the company, enjoying the products. It's like, but we want to be honest with you guys of what we actually feel. Like, we're not just going to sit here and just completely be one-sided, because at the end of the day, that's not realistic. And we know people from both sides are out there. So we want to make sure that, like our take is what it really is. But another like kind of issue that we have, and it hasn't still fully been resolved in the sense of we don't know if this is 100% true, but it's kind of a little issue with the sticker situation with New York Comic Con. So I do know initially when these were announced and they showed them and then pictures and glams and at the event and everything, they had a New York Comic Con sticker on them. They weren't really like, I mean, I think the blue maybe was, but they weren't necessarily said like to be New York Comic Con exclusives, but they were obviously being announced and unveiled and given out at New York Comic Con. So everyone kind of thought, okay, these are all New York Comic Con stickers on these, even if you bought them online, because everything online showed that you had the
Yes.
pictures, everything was the way it was. And then, kind of in a similar way of the way they did this whole little price increase, they came out with a little blog post and whatever, and it was kind of just saying like, hey, after New York Comic Con, we had a lot of issues where certain things weren't being shipped, whatever, which I do believe, because that did
Agreed.
happen with other companies. 100%
It did.
Soft was one of them. Like a lot of pallets and stuff got
Pallets were
missing. Like it was,
lost.
yeah, it was weird. It was like a lot of people weren't getting their stuff to the con and convention. So basically they were saying like whatever they brought there wasn't fully there, so they were going to have more available online. And a lot of that was to kind of push the 24 piece, meaning that obviously there's still some out there and you can still get them through online. But in that message, they kind of also said like that it may not have the New York sticker. Some aren't going to have it. It wasn't
Well, they made a comment like,
guaranteed or
and there's
something,
a
right?
chance that you can still get the New York Comic Con
Still,
sticker. And
yeah,
when
like
I
they made
read
it
that, I
seem
was
like it
like,
was
whoa.
because those are the ones that were at the place and they're going to sell them online. So they made it in there. They made it seem like if you got everything online originally, you were not going to get a sticker. And it just didn't make sense. And we're not sticker whores here. Like we've
No.
gone through this like with crazy back and forth with Funko, but it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just another messy kind of,
And the
I
image
don't
of
know
it
if
was
it's
on the website. It was there.
Yep.
Yes, and I don't know if it's like the actual thing itself or it has to do again with the social media or the blog or how they're like saying things. I don't know. It's just it's a little
Well,
weird.
one
And again,
thing,
it doesn't bother me too much, but it is just an interesting thing to kind of pile on, I guess.
and it's funny, I pretty sure the nasty comments that I'm referring to were dealing with this situation, actually. Now that I'm like thinking about it, it was not because of the price change for Mega PIX.
Okay.
But I mean, I watch basically every interview that Brian has talked about this damn company because I'll say it again. Everyone knows I love Brian. He made a point that this was like kind of go off what you were saying, Migs. I mean, it was the New York Comic Con was like basically the unveiling of this company, and they all were New York Comic Con exclusives, but you didn't need to be at the show to experience this. You were able to get them online. Like that was like verbatim what he said. Hence, they released them all online the day that that booth opened at the con. And like I said, it showed the images were all there that you're getting. No one talked anything special. And Brian even kind of went off like, yeah, we're not really doing, I don't really care about the stickers. I'm doing my wax seals that show like the limited editions. I think those New York Comic Con stickers were kind of just on there to show like this is when it launched. And now that they're acting like that was something special, which they never said, to me is just super fishy. That isn't something you like just remembered next week after the con was over. Oh, they're only New York Comic Con stickers are the ones you get in the booth. Because let's be real, as we've talked about in our last episode, people were going ham over these things at the actual con. They would have gone even crazier if you told them you were only going to get the stickers there. That's why I just don't believe any of this.
Yeah.
I think it's miscommunication, or they realized they got sent ones without the stickers and they got messed up.
Yeah. Online, they still have stickers of all the pictures, by the way.
Which
Still
they should have taken down then. Like that's just where their marketing and their social media just hasn't been up to snuff for me. It's like the one thing about the company that I don't think has been as good as it should be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll see. Mine still haven't even shipped. I know
Neither
you
is
said
mine.
yours shipped, Mig, right?
Well, I got like the message saying that it was, I'm pretty sure I said that it was shipped or it was about to ship. I got something that, but I
think
haven't
that something has to do with the
tracking on
Turtles
it.
one, because that's what me and Trey got. And I got the blue too. They're clearly not going to ship them separately. So something's going on with the Turtles one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because mine hasn't shipped. It's still placed order.
I've gotten nothing. And I know my cousin Anthony's shipped. And he got Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, again, I think we're going to see some issues and some things with startup company, and we're going to have to kind of, if I'm being honest, and Charlie being the diehard fan of Brian as he is, I think the excitement kind of blinded us in thinking that this company was going to be like so perfect with everything.
Yep.
And
Fair.
now we're seeing like little flaws, and it's like it is what it is, and we don't hate it, and it's unexpected. It's expected essentially, but it's just when we see them, I think they're just being magnified more because of how they're coming out, and that's what's making it worse. But we're here to talk about it. We're still gonna talk. We're still gonna be fans regardless, and
Well,
kind of to transition to a fan aspect, I did want to talk about like some of these unveilings. But if you had something to say, you can say.
Before we do that, because there is one more Mega PIX thing I do want to talk about, not to be negative. So this thing launches, okay? And, people are going online and, the Funko finders of the world, they're sharing images. Let's just say a few hours have gone by of the sale, and it says like out of the 1,800 are left. Okay.
Yeah.
So then magically at the end of the day, it's sold out. Do we think do we actually think this sold out, or they saw sales were, plateaued at a certain point and they already were getting that bad press with the price change? They said it was sold out and pulled it. I'm just curious what do you think?
Probably I'll just have to go to Marshall's pretty soon and see what's on the shelves there. Maybe there'll be 125 on sale. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did find that very odd too. That I'm just kidding. I don't think they'll be at Marshall's.
Brian's not gonna allow that one.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, yeah, I think it's very odd because they dropped, right, and then they stuck at they probably sold a little bit over 100, or I don't remember what the exact
they sold
number.
like 200.
Yeah, so it wasn't many, right? And then a few hours go by, and then all of a sudden it sold out. There are maybe some jabroni influencers that would buy a whole bunch, right? They buy a whole bunch of NFTs. I don't know. I don't know. I thought that was very odd too. I don't think they fully sold out. I think they maybe restocked, maybe because they realized, again with the price point, and then maybe they are having like a bunch of shipping issues to where they're like, you know what, let's just sell what we can and then restock it later, right? Or depending on, now that they changed the price point, I think honestly the pieces might even be even more limited.
Yeah.
That's
I was
my
actually going to say what I think is, I don't think they had more and they pulled it. Like, I don't know. I think either it genuinely sold out or they probably had less than they were supposed to have.
Okay.
And those sold out. So like,
that is fair.
Like, and the thing is like, we say this all the time. We talked about it when we talk about sodas. We talk about it when we talk about anything else that's numbered. There's literally never a way to know what the actual number is out there, because you're not going to get everyone together to be like, oh, I have one to add it up.
Well, the only card says the number.
Yeah, but you still have to ask, find out if that number's out there.
That is very fair.
Not everyone's on YouTube. Not everyone's on Instagram. So it's never going to be. But then again, 24 piece, maybe. It's only 24. That's not that hard to get 24 people, right? But it is just it's still a few thousand. It's a decent amount, and some of them are 5, 6, 7,000. So it's like, are they really out there? But then again, these PIX versions are still up, so clearly those aren't being But the 1,000-piece Mega PIX, I guess we'll see. But it's interesting to see what's going to come out next, because obviously we got that initial wave of 5 or whatever, and like I said, they pulled them. Now you don't even see the other ones. They don't exist on the website.
Nope.
Like maybe some of them they won't even make, because if they really are having these issues, and they had so many issues with this specific one.
That's a great point.
Some of those other ones that we saw may not be out yet. And even it kind of makes those ones that were given away even more special, because the way they worded it is those ones are nowhere near the quality and how good this Freddy that actually is going out is. Like, they made a point to kind of say that. And I believe them, because if they hadn't changed it that many times and it was that delayed, clearly Brian does want quality stuff. Like, we 100% will be on the same page and saying he's somebody that's not going to put out something that isn't perfect quality as much as he can. So it's interesting to see that some people, like the Gasselcast, they gave Gasselcast a Freddy Krueger blue. He has one, but they're clearly that concept beginning stage version. So it's probably not, and they love it, and it's probably not even as good as some of these ones coming out. So Interesting, but yeah, just wanted to quickly kind of go over some like stuff that's going to be coming out to kind of get a little bit more excited about Thrilljoy again, so we get them back on our side. But there was obviously the event that me and Charlie went to during Comic-Con, the panel. And during that panel, they did show a lot of like what's coming next. I know there's like a Christmas kind of theme with a lot of these that are going to be coming up. They have certain big licenses and IPs for like MTV type products and some other characters and shows and stuff too.
Harry Potter drop.
Yeah, so there's going to be like very specific weeks and like very specific ones that are going to be coming out. But there was a picture put together. Cache Pops is the one that actually put together. Looks like, and then Funko Finders put it out there. But it kind of shows you a little bit. Like, we don't have to go over every single thing, but just kind of like what we're excited about. Obviously, like the Harry Potter stuff, we're going to get more than just Harry Potter, which was the first initial push. But the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is the one that I'm like, that's pretty sick. And like it falls into the Christmas bucket of stuff that they're going to come out with. But that one's pretty cool. Clark Griswold. I was actually literally just watching that yesterday. It's so funny.
Yeah, I'm like super excited.
I know you are real excited for some of those Christmas ones.
I'm like really pumped for Year Without Santa Claus. So we're getting which is I also think is super cool that they're not making like a Heat Miser and a Snow Miser one. The Snow Miser is the common, the Heat Miser is the chase, and then there's a like super chase, ultra chase, whichever one this was going to be considered, of 96 pieces of Mother Nature, which like, I mean, I know it's going to be really hard to get. Like, I really want that for my collection because this is exactly what Brian is saying about Thrilljoy, and he's backing it up. There are no Mother Nature collectibles. There's a million. I mean, I have the Funko Pops, the sodas, like the this and that of Heat Miser and Snow Miser. They've never made Mother Nature. So like, I just think that's super cool. And I know Brian's gonna, I think, continue to do that down the line with his collectibles. So
yeah, they're pretty cool. I'm looking at the picture right now. I know I saw Buddy the Elf. That one was pretty cool. And then of course Harry Potter. I do like those. I didn't get a Harry Potter on the initial drop, but all these other ones, now it's probably gonna make me want to get them all.
I agree. It's funny you say that. Like, I didn't get the Harry Potter one because I'm like, I don't want to get a bunch of these. But now, like, the frame on the Harry Potter one is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think the frame for that one, because it's like the castle, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. I like those a lot. I might just be a one and done on those. I don't think I'll go for like the chase. If I get the chase, that's cool. If not, I mean, that's cool too. But I do like those. All the other ones I'm not really big fan of. I mean, the Scooby-Doo ones are pretty cool, but definitely the Harry Potter. I definitely like those.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo ones opens up a huge line. Obviously, there's a ton of villains and a ton of stuff that they can make. Scooby-Doo also has a pretty big, like, diehard following. Like, we're fans of it, but we're not in that group. But there are people out there that are so hardcore. So it does make sense why he would come out with that. The MTV line stuff is pretty interesting. Beavis and Butthead is funny, and it's very, very niche, but like a lot of us remember that and growing up with that. But then he kind of went even more like with Dario, which obviously NFTs did with Funko. So it's like, that's another weird one. But like, it's just a mix of stuff. But I did want to ask you guys this question, like seeing like the 30-ish plus SKUs and ones that came out initially, and then now getting this wave of stuff that's going to be coming out in the next month too, or whatever it is. Like, one, it's good that we're getting a lot of different IPs and a lot of different fandoms, so you can kind of get a different person to kind of jump into Thrilljoy. But do you think this is too much? Because I think a lot of this stuff is going to sit, and it's already sitting technically. We've had this out for a month or so. Yeah. And we're kind of like, is this going to be too much too fast versus like I get it. They're rare. They're limited. Like, we want that. But like, is he making too many different ones at once, or should this have been rolled out a lot slower? And like, granted, we don't know when these are coming out exactly, but what's your take?
I mean, I personally think they launched at Comic-Con with too many, if I'm being honest. looking at these, like, I think it just looks like maybe a little more than it actually is, because we, like you said, we already have more that are sitting. I don't mind that some of them are still sitting. It doesn't necessarily mean they didn't sell well. I mean, they are still limited pieces, but like, the Harry Potter one, I think is 7,500. That's still a lot to sell, for example. I mean, I would like to see the blue and like that to completely go away because it's only 3,000, but that still is like a not known IP because obviously we're creating a new character. But I look at the Christmas ones. Okay, so you decided to come out with 3 different movies. Do we need all 3? I mean, maybe it could have been 2. I like, though, the idea of what he said, and I know you kind of just talked about, but necessarily elaborated a bunch. These are gonna release in drops. Kind of best way of explaining to our audience is like how they drop the NFTs. They're gonna come out. They're gonna make an event of it. It may be like considered a week, not just like one day, but that's when they're gonna be released, and then they're done. Or obviously they'll sit on the website, but I know I'm talking in circles here. I mean, maybe they are making too many to begin with. The Harry Potter, well, but it's funny. I'm focused on the Christmas ones because I'm excited about those. And weirdly enough, I mean, I've always said on the podcast, like, I like the Christmas Funko Pops because they're cool decorations. I think these even bring it to a whole new level because you can hang them. You can kind of put them on a mantle if you want for your stockings, yada, yada, yada. But the Harry Potter ones, even though I did say I would like to get the Harry Potter, we probably didn't need that many Harry Potter ones already. Like, having a Harry Potter week, I don't think Harry Potter needed its own drop.
Yeah.
I'm cool with the Christmas one. I don't think Harry Potter needed a whole one. And I'm assuming one of the drops is going to be like retro MTV. Okay, we're getting Flux, we're getting Beavis and Butthead, and we're getting Daria. That's 3 different properties, just like the 3 different Christmases. Harry Potter didn't need its own one. Okay, that's a little too much.
Yeah, I agree. It might be a little bit too much as far as all the different lines. Especially, they're sitting, like Mig said, they're sitting now. Over time, yeah, maybe, spread out throughout the year. Sure. But yeah, it might be a little bit too many as far as, all these. I know for sure. I mean, I'll try for maybe like the Harry Potters, maybe like 1 or 2, depending on what because Carly's a Harry Potter fan more. And she actually told me, she was like, I actually want the Harry Potter one. I'm like, oh, dude. Okay, cool.
From the original one.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool, dude. I got you. So now, I mean, maybe I might not show her this picture, but
Hope she doesn't watch. Hope she doesn't watch this.
But no, yeah. I mean, other than those, yeah, she's gonna want all of them. I mean, other than those, personally, I mean, I probably would not get it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to. I mean, yeah, maybe it's just a bunch of random. Maybe not. Or what would be the saying I would want to say it? Maybe something more of a variety, right? Like you have Christmas, you have Harry Potter, but maybe something more that's like that's relatable, like a Star Wars or like a Marvel, something that would kind of grasp. I feel like these are like y'all said, like a niche, like very small, like collectors. You know what I mean? Like if he's wanting to push this out.
What if there was a Turtles week, Trey? Are you getting them all?
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Definitely, obviously my fandom, right? But like, well, yeah,
I'm just curious about that. So it's like that opens up a can of worms. So like maybe the week things is a good idea for people of certain fandoms, and then like let's just there's a Harry Potter like collector who only collects Harry Potter. They're gonna try to get all of these,
Yeah,
that could be the way it's being done.
Out there, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So, like it's clearly big enough, but it just is interesting when you see how things are dropped. And I always said that about Funko, like when like certain things will come out, I was like, why is this coming out now? Or what are they, who's thinking of this or that?
Yeah.
And this case, like this is a brand new company. So they are literally starting. This is what they say. This is what's going to blow us up in the first few months, which I'm assuming you want to be successful in the first few months if you're a brand new company. And they're like, this is what we came out with. And they had a couple random horror stuff and a couple random, like the Ninja Turtle. And like, you start to think like, were they thinking like, what's the most popular or what's just going to sell or who has followed us in the past that we think is going to like this? or is it just something I love as Brian, like, which it kind of seems like he does that a lot. So
Yes.
it's just weird when you see certain ones that are coming out, and then we saw these drops, and like I totally agree. I'm not like sold on any of these, like where I'm like I have to have that. There's a few that are like really cool, and even though they're niche, it's cool because you don't see them often, so that makes them more exciting. But it also kind of makes you think like the price point, the size, this isn't for everyone. So like, are these gonna really sell well or not? Like, who knows? Because this is how they're starting and they don't do so well. Like, what do? Do they ramp it up? Like, I don't know if they're gonna go the Marvel and the Star Wars routes. Like, I could see him probably not even going that way at all because he's making it seem like it's more like smaller fandoms that he's going after. That's kind of like the vibe I was getting. Because if he goes into the Marvels and the Disneys of the world, he's gonna probably blow up too fast, and then we're gonna get back into a damn Funko conversation again. So I'm interested
I don't
to
see a
know if
world
he
where
does
he
that.
doesn't go after those, though. I mean, Harry Potter's at that type of level of a Marvel, let's just say. I mean, it's not as big, but
It is, but I don't know.
don't
Because
see him
think
not
about it. If he
wanting
goes,
it.
let's say he goes to Marvel. There are so many movies and so many characters. This is not going to be a company that I think we're going to love it for what it is now. If it's there, that's just my honest
unless he
take.
goes for like niche characters, like
Well, yeah,
so
but
small, like characters.
or he
It
needs
would have
to. I
to,
mean,
but
he's talked a big game that like he doesn't really care. He's here for the fans, and I know he's spending a lot of his own money. He can maybe pay for that license. And the difference between what Brian can do and what Funko does, Funko freaking juices every little ounce out of that license until
Oh
it's
yeah,
gone. He
yeah,
could pay all that money for the Disney license and make one Star Wars line, one Marvel line, one Disney line, and move on. Like,
yep.
that's a difference. And one thing I would like to see them do, which he didn't necessarily do it with the Harry Potter, which I feel like he could have. Common could have been Harry Potter. Chase could have been, let's say, Ron. And like the super Chase could have been Hermione. I would like to see him do that, let's just say for Marvel. Iron
Yeah.
Man's Common, Captain America's Chase, and like
Kind of like the
Spider-Man's
turtles.
super.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. Is like what's weird is that he's not consistent on one way or the other. Like
Agreed.
that's kind of a little worrisome for me because I feel like it would make more sense if he was doing that 100%, and I totally agree. And the Harry Potter one is the one that just completely changed that. Where it's like,
Yes.
no, I'm just going to come out of each one of these, and they happen to have. I mean, obviously they have chase options, I'm sure, and it's going to be like a different outfit or whatever it is. But like, if you did it for like, because the fact that he did it for turtles and he didn't even do one turtle for another turtle, he went turtle to Shredder, kind of almost makes me feel like maybe he's not going to come out with the other turtles. Because then what's he going to do? A turtle to another turtle and a turtle to a Splinter? Like, that's going to get kind
to
of
me
weird.
would be cool in a weird way. Like that's I wouldn't care if he did that with Star Wars either. And I love Star Wars. If he made like a Vader and a Luke, and then we're done, or like get 3,
Or like a Han Solo, Chewbacca.
yeah,
C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah, something like that would be cool.
which
But
is
like then
kind of
again,
what
he
he's
could do what he did with Harry Potter and just come out with 7 of the different
agreed.
characters. And
Which I'm
like,
happy we're talking about this right now because that, in my opinion, that is the way I don't think they should go. But for all you know, he's experimenting right now. Once again, and I know Brian's a huge A Year Without Santa Claus fan. I think what he did with that one is perfect because Heat Miser and Snow Miser they're basically equal. That would be like having, the Harry Potter, and then, Ron is just as important of a character, but Harry Potter is the more important one. You would want both, but we're making one a common, one a chase, and then one with the Mother Nature being like the ultra chase. I think that is going to be the way that they should go. Like, I'm surprised he didn't do that with He-Man, and then Skeletor was the chase, and then I actually
that's
think
what's
now
weird. He mixed it even with the initial wave. It
I'm
was
happy
so
we're
mixed.
talking about this because talking out loud, I feel like it's probably an experiment to see what
Could be see
what
which
works.
ones look, which ones do better, and like what, because some just don't make sense. Like the Crow, for instance, he did a regular one and then he had his shirt off, and it was like
I
he
agree.
must really love the Crow, and he like wanted it, and it's like he clearly had a lot of personal taste in this initial, and even in the second little wave that we're seeing, because we know what he loves and he said it. So like he's kind of going with that. But yeah, I mean, I guess we got to see what's going to happen going forward, because this is just the picks. Obviously, we've seen leaks and stuff of the mega ones, and some of them are related to this. Like there's a Buddy the Elf, a blue as Buddy the Elf, but then there's a Jason Voorhees, which isn't in the picks. It's only as the mega. And then we have a Gandalf. Like, so it's like such a mix of stuff that he's going after. I know his big thing is, and he said it constantly, is like he does want to do stuff that we don't see, like Blue Eyed Samurai and other stuff that don't have collectibles currently.
Which is cool.
Which is cool, and that's where like I see the niche aspect and like being super, super collectible and super rare. That's the only reason why I don't see him going hardcore after the big boys like Marvel and stuff. Now, obviously, he was going to make money if he gets them, but I don't know. I don't know if he will. I know he can get them. It's not like he's going to be in a Funko situation where there's certain licenses you're just like, oh, they can't ever get it. But one license he did, and this is so crazy that we're going so off script of what we wanted to just talk about. But I'm glad that we're talking about this, because I think it was in an interview, if I'm not mistaken, he said that he's going to try to do whatever he can to try to get the Nintendo license.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, we talked about it here, right?
Yep.
And thinking about that now, though, is like, that's massive, but they're not
been done.
Like, they're not done in so many different things, because they're very strict to like their own thing. That if he does that, I mean, I think that's like just a whole nother. I mean, Funko doesn't have that, so that's where he can be like, "Hey, look what I got."
And trust me, he knows that. And then just right there, dude, the possibilities, dude. Mario, Zelda, like Metroid, like it just, dude, I will be in trouble if he gets Nintendo. I'll tell you that.
The Mega PIX alone, like, I think those would be the best.
Oh, unreal.
Yeah. There would be some insane looking ones, but
hopefully he does.
We'll see. We'll see.
He's gonna get it.
I mean, in a
weird way thinking.
Not to say that he has very good connections with the Asian community, and like
also
in that whole world. So
I have this weird feeling that Nintendo will appreciate that it's a premium product, that they're not gonna like
low number.
And he won't overdo it. Like sometimes I feel like maybe that's why they haven't given it to Funko, because they already make stuff like that in their own world, where like these super high end collectibles, it could be a different story. But once again, I do think he's going to try to get all the big licenses. Just how does he handle them is, I think, what will separate him from the most. Yes, I don't want a million Star Wars ones, but I do want a Star Wars one, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we saw concepts made. You know, our boy, who actually created our logo. Yeah, he came out with a bunch of concepts, and Marvel's one of them, Star Wars is one of them, more horror stuff, even Dragon Ball Z. Like, so he's clearly like doing the big ones that maybe, you know, like he's being like, hey, look, this is what it could.
Because I don't see Brian not making a Batman one, for example. But like you make Batman and you make Joker the chase, and you move on. You move on from Batman. Like
that would be the perfect world. Let's see.
Let's see. Thrilljoy. That's what you got to do.
For real. I know
you're listening.
I'm glad somebody out there in that world is listening. But we can. I think that's all the Thrilljoy news for now.
Thrilljoy.
You know,
we Thrilljoyed enough.
We can.
It was thrilling, and we got that joy.
We got a lot of joy.
Let's go.
We could transition over to our old fun Funko. We have other company there. Yeah, the other massive freaking company. We do have some news on that end. Obviously, there hasn't been a lot of stuff as of lately, but recently, like the last couple episodes, I feel like we never have too much stuff to talk about. No. But recently, we did have some stuff that kind of came out, and like, you know, whether it's a drop, a wave, a line, an NFT set, or whatever. But what was like something that kind of, you know, you got really excited about? Because there's a few different things I think we each kind of may like, or we may not like.
I mean, one thing I don't know if necessarily is excitement is the word, but like it was cool to see. We have the new Star Wars Disney Plus show coming out, Skeleton Crew. So you would like, part of me is just like, how are they going to go with Star Wars moving forward? Because Acolyte was a bomb. I don't think anyone wanted those Funko Pops. They're making a ton of the Skeleton Crew right off the bat. It looks like we're getting, these are all new molds because they're cool, because they're all new characters.
Yeah.
But you're getting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new Funko Pops in the main line, and then what it seems like they're doing a lot now, because they're not giving it to as many retailers. The Funko Shop's going to get an exclusive from this line, and that's one of the other new characters. I mean, it's exciting, but it's also like, I sometimes am saying, oh, is Funko not listening to what the fans want? And like, I'm a perfect example. I collect mostly Star Wars and all different types of collectibles, and I've now finally can admit, like, this is just too many. It's almost just, the one show they did it right for was Andor, and if you were to rewind to listen to episodes from a year ago, I was kind of bitching about that there was like only 2 or 3 Andor pops, but that's the way it should actually be. They did something right for that.
Yeah.
So that's just I'm excited for the new Star Wars pops, but like, we got to stop these huge lines.
I just think, like, specifically with Star Wars, and they do it with Marvel, so they're both in the same boat, but they obviously overproduce things. They do for the masses. They make these massive waves of stuff, and they do it a lot of times with stuff before it even comes out.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
the
did
problem.
it with Marvel a lot, and now they're doing it with Star Wars, right? So I guess they're kind of just, clearly pops are probably cheap to make, bro. Like, at the end of the day, we start looking at all these other higher end things, like pops probably are not that much, right? So they obviously probably look at it like, hey, we rather put out every character that's in this show, not knowing who's going to be popular, who's going to be the one that everyone wants, and just bite the bullet on making these ones that aren't going to sell, and we'll put them in a landfill, put them in clearance or whatever, and just deal with it again, because they continue to do that. So versus like something comes out, because they used to do this. Remember, like, an episode would come out and then one pop would come out, or 2.
Yeah,
and
I thought that was
they
cool
did it
when
with
they did
the oh my god, Obi-Wan. Was it Obi-Wan that they were dropping stuff like?
Oh yeah, they did do it with
something,
Obi-Wan,
right?
because I think they didn't want to spoil anything. We're here.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, like, are they spoiling anything? It's just the characters, whatever. But yeah, and I don't know. I'm just not surprised when a Star Wars line comes out and it's massive. Like, I'm like, oh, obviously they're just gonna just keep making tons of these, right? And it just kind of seems like what they're doing with this. And again, it's just weird that it's before the show comes out, so it's like, I guess they're just hoping it does well. And I don't know what do you think about that, but you're the Star Wars fan, so I feel like you would be the most excited one of anything. But like, I don't even know about the show, so
Star Wars is in a really bad place, and I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. I mean, I don't think these are
studio and everything you're talking about. Like, you're just
I don't think these are gonna sell, because even if the show is amazing, there's a lot of stubborn people out there who are just sort of like checked out and like, I'm not watching this. You totally effed Star Wars.
So you change everything, yeah.
This being one of those shows. I mean, even the trailer for this, like, I'm personally excited for the show, because this is what happened with this show. They're like, okay, what's popular? Stranger Things is really popular. Okay, so let's pitch a Star Wars version of Stranger Things and also give it the Goonies vibe, and we're going to set it in a Star Wars universe. That's exactly what this show is, even to the point where the trailer kind of put in music that would kind of be in Stranger Things, which I thought was terrible. I was just like, dude, this is just not Star Wars. Like, John Williams has made one of the greatest scores of all time. Why aren't you just slapping that into trailers that people know? So it's stuff like that already is right off the bat. It's like, people aren't even excited for this show. They're not going to buy the product. I think these are going to be like, ultimately, I feel like maybe once I watch the show, I'll like some of them. The old me would have pre-ordered all of these. Now I'm just going to wait till I see the show.
Yeah,
see what characters.
Before the show came out, you would have had every single one.
Yeah, now I'm like, okay, I'll see the show, I'll see the character I like, and then I'll wait for it to go on clearance. It's a totally new progression of what has happened with these common Funko Pops.
Yep.
So yes, I know I'm supposed to be excited for this, but it's so cool to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Trey? What's out there?
So the only thing, I mean, there was two things, but the first one I kind of will go over was just the Funko Fusion, the Cosmic Freddy. That
Yeah.
one was pretty cool. I just thought it was odd that they had it selling on the website by itself, and then you can buy the bundle, and then they both sold out, right? I want to say
Yep.
because I didn't even
Mhm.
I didn't get it, but I
then
thought
it
that
got
was a really
restocked.
I thought that was a really cool pop. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
Yeah, it
like
was.
the pops. All the Funko Fusion ones are pretty cool, especially the one from Hot Fuzz, wasn't Chris Angel. What's his name? I forget. Nick. Dude, why am I drawing a blank? But anyway, yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
I
Um,
don't know his name, but yeah.
that was probably the best one out of all of them, just because I really love that movie and all like Shaun of the Dead and all that. Um, but yeah, I was excited for that one, but then I was like, I don't really doesn't fit my collection right now.
Wait, are you talking about
But
Simon Pegg?
yeah, but his character in
Yeah, okay.
Hot
His
Fuzz,
name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah,
I think it was like Nicholas Angel, something. I think that's it. But
that
yeah,
is it.
other than
That
that,
is it.
yeah,
I
It's
just
definitely
looked
not
it
is
up.
Chris
it?
Angel.
Yeah, not
It's
Chris
Nicholas
Angel. I don't know. But yeah, that one was pretty cool. But
It's cool
like,
looking for
yeah,
sure.
I definitely like
Yeah.
it. Again, I'd rather have it been like glow in the dark, but that's just my opinion.
Glow
Yeah.
Ho.
Yeah.
Do the glow hose. But I agree though. That's definitely cool, and it's cool that they did the bundle because, like, if you did, I mean, obviously, if you have the
Agreed.
game, it wouldn't matter. But like, it's a way to get it. Because if I'm not mistaken, like, it's $60. That's the price of the game, isn't it?
You got the pop
So
for
were you
free.
getting the pop for free? Like,
Yeah.
Yep,
so it's
I agree.
actually kind of a cool way to kind of promote it and push it. Which I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but is this game even doing well? Because no one's talking about this thing. So
All the
I don't know.
influencers stopped playing it. That's why.
Yeah,
Dude,
the hype's
I don't
over. I
think
mean, I
anyone
played it.
cares about that.
It's fun. It's what you would expect from a game like this. I mean,
It's like a Lego game, right?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure co-op is coming out in like online play, but they needed that to begin with. I feel like to have some sort of hype. Quite frankly, what Funko should have done instead of developing their own game, they should have found a way into like Fortnite, for example, and had like a Funko event.
Like their characters in there. And stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done. They've gone to. I mean, once again, I think the whole video game thing is cool. I'm not going to backtrack on saying I don't think it was a fun idea, but Funko is going way too hard into this, in my opinion. Way more than I would have ever expected them to. I thought this game was coming out, it was cool, and we were moving on. But they're like really hanging on to this game, which is it's an interesting direction, in my opinion.
Terrible direction.
Yeah.
A wave that I kind of was like not necessarily excited for, but I thought it was cool to see is the Saturday Night Live one. So it's Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary, and it has some pretty classic like characters on there. So like Debbie Downer, the Mango one is hilarious. Chris Kattan, right? Like that one is so good. The Gilly one is great. I don't know who Guap Lord is. I'm not sure. Maybe I remember. Maybe I don't know the name. And then the Stewart. So like it's like classic, obviously iconic, specific characters that were in tons of sketches, and we've seen them like a ton of times. And it's funny, again, the Gilly one has the sorry on it, which obviously says that all the time, but it's one of those pops that we only have a few of them that have like that text blurb in them.
Yeah.
And we talked about it back when one of those ones came out a long time ago of like how this was something they should do more, and they kind of never did. So it's interesting to see that this is one that we're getting that in. And we don't like it's on the box, and it's also like behind the pop. So pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not going to get any of these, but it's cool to see it. I mean, if you're a huge Saturday Night Live fan, and obviously it's an anniversary, these are kind of cool to have, especially if you're a fan of any of these characters and these sketches.
Yeah. Another pop that I've been like waiting for them to make pops like this, but for whatever reason, they still don't listen to us about sports pops. So they came out with, and this is what I'm actually talking about, one that you probably don't think I'm going to bring up, but they came out with a Inter Miami 4-pack. It's the first MLS Funko Pop. you don't need all 4 of the players in one pack. Like, I'd rather them be separate. Like, I don't understand this whole like sports packs. They even also, dude, the only player that should have a 2-pack as well in sports is Ohtani. They just came out with a Connor Bernard 2-pack for,
Yeah.
I mean, in the NHL. I don't understand the 2-pack. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not like it's not like he's the fucking goalie one day and then the next day, it doesn't make any sense to me. They need to hire someone who understands sports at Funko. I don't know how many more times I need to say this. I mean, I'm a huge, like, Jack Hughes, and maybe he's not allowing his likeness. I'm going to go on a rampage because I'm a huge Devils fan. He is one of the stars of the NHL. How does this dude not have a pop? And Connor Bernard already has 3 now, and a 2-pack and a single. It just doesn't make any sense. No sense. And then
maybe Connor's better.
I mean, he's not yet, but it's not even but that's them. Like, ooh, he was the shiny new. He's the shiny new guy. There's the next Wayne Gretzky. So we need to make 1 million pops. Also with the World Series 5-pack now that we just got. Dude,
Yep.
honestly, they should have made a Freddie Freeman Funko Pop and called it a day. He is the MVP. They did.
That's what they should do. Yeah,
that's what they should do.
That all the time, about
all the time, and they did it for the Stanley Cup one time.
But
once.
Steph Curry too was when they won.
Yeah, but they made a Steph Curry one after the fact. Like, let's just show Steph Curry holding the trophy. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, they are missing the mark with these sports Funko Pops. I feel like there could be this whole new. And I talk about this every time. I really want them. When they made that Ohtani 2-pack, I was like, okay, you know what? That is a smart idea, but they need to stop with these multi-packs for sports. Sorry, Mix. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the multi-pack thing. I think it is a little random because this is the way I see it. And maybe I'm just too like exact on this or whatever, but like clearly most of these sports have a lot of players. A baseball team has 9. You're not going to make a 9-pack. People are going to be missing. You're going to be picking and choosing. It's like who's popular, or not even sometimes who's popular. They pick just random people. Whereas even though I don't like it, when the basketball one comes out, they're doing the starting lineup.
Yep.
And it makes sense. Like, that's the team. They won the championship. And I understand why a collector who is just a hardcore sports collector or just a hardcore collector of their specific sports team would want that and would be excited for it. Even like a Dodgers fan, right? If you're a Dodgers fan, like, this is a cool thing to get. It says World Series on it. Like,
yes.
It's nice. But I do think that you don't need all these pops in one. Like, you could totally get that same vibe with the one, like you said. If it's the MVP, you know who the MVP is because they're going to announce it right when they win the championship. And then you make them a special looking cool box and it says World Series champions or whatever it says. And it is who it is. But like for like a football team, like you're not going to put 11 guys on a freaking thing, but they did 5. And it was just like, I think the multi-packs are also pushing it. I think they're just trying to get into the sports world of stuff, but they don't always make sense. The only one, and I think this is the Ohtani one, is probably second, very close second of a perfect sports multi-pack, is the Wayne Gretzky one. It's a 4-pack, I think, actually.
Yeah,
and
with
it's
all the
because
different
he
teams.
Played on 4 different teams, and you got one of him and everyone. Yeah, I have that one too, actually.
Yeah.
And like, that's sick. Like, that's awesome because, one, he's a legend, considered one of the greatest, and he played on multiple teams. So it's like, it makes sense to have different versions of him. But the 2-pack of Ohtani was sick because he's a pitcher and he's a hitter. So you got him both ways. Like, that just made perfect sense. Now, they came out with him on the Dodgers, even though he's never pitched on the Dodgers. I thought that was stupid. But whatever. Like, they probably did it way before, not knowing that he wasn't going to pitch or whatever it was. But either way, yeah, I can go on and on too with you, Charlie, about sports. I think it's the biggest misses that they have because in reality, I get it. There's nerd worlds out there of people that are Marvel and Star Wars, and those collectible worlds have been around for a while. But the sports collecting world is massive.
Yeah.
And it does better with bobbleheads and cheap looking figures and helmets and balls and memorabilia than it does with Funko Pops, and that doesn't make sense to me. Like they
No.
should be just as popular in the Funko Pop world, meaning that they're getting the right people out there. They're making pops of all these people because, like you said, some people don't want their likeness out there. Okay, that's fine. But some of them have their likeness out there in other ways, and they're not in Funko Pop for it.
You're right.
So, like, that's clearly not the reason. So it's like you got to figure this out because there's a perfect way. Like, they're missing out on somehow getting a collab with Tops. They need to figure that out because if they had some type of Tops like connection where you got a card and a pop,
dude,
that would
Miguel would have no money.
Insane, bro. No money. Yeah. I would literally.
That is the bread and butter. You said it though. That is what they should be doing. It's like a no-brainer. Do this, Funko. Do it. Even too, like I've said it. I don't want to go on this whole special moment of winning. Like I'll just use the World Series. I would buy that every year. I would be looking forward to it. I'd be like, I am adding this to my collection, and I can like. It's just, I know tons of sports fans who would do that. It's just like, come on, you gotta get someone on your team who knows what they're talking about. But as Mike said, he couldn't say that perfectly. Tops collaboration. I think that even more than I ever did. They should be doing everything in their power to do that.
Yeah. I think so too. It sucks because of the baseball. Because, I mean, you can't. I mean, there's only certain ones that we've talked about before where, like, there's certain ones where you're like, oh, that's what's his name from the Padres. You know, that there's certain ones that you can distinguish who they are. But like most of these, I mean, you can't really. If they didn't have the names on the box, you wouldn't even know who these are.
I thought Teoscar Hernandez was a pitcher. Yes. I was like, who's the pitcher that they chose?
That's a bad one.
I was like, who's the pitcher? I was like, who's this pitcher?
That could be like Garrett Cole in a damn Dodgers uniform. You know what I mean? That could be that could be anybody. I think that's
Yamamoto looks like Cole.
I truly believe like that's what it is about the sports, you know, pops where like other than the main ones where like a Patrick Mahomes, you know that's Patrick Mahomes. You know, there's certain players in any sport, they have a specific look. And I think it's hard for baseball because they're wearing a hat, they're wearing a helmet. You don't know. Like I feel bad because even though I don't like the Yankees, like the Derek Jeter one, that just looks like a normal guy wearing number 2. It doesn't, you know, granted, and it sucks too because all the Yankees, they shave unless they have a mustache.
I was just gonna say, so that's another reason.
You can't have like any kind of you can't have any details. You know what I mean? Like it's hard unless like you take off the hat and the helmet. You know, like they have certain haircuts. You know, but it's hard. I truly believe. Now this is just me, kind of just throwing something out there, and I know they're shitty products. I'm sorry for cussing too, but I think they should have done like the baseball golds with a card or something like that, because that way you can tell, okay, cool, that's Mookie Betts, that's Shohei Ohtani, that's Derek Jeter. I think because they have a little bit more, I guess, detail in their faces and how they look, I think,
they're more of an action figure look.
Yeah, so I think that would be better. I know golds are, you know, dead.
It's just funny you brought that up. I love how they killed that line and just like never acknowledged it.
But they did the same thing with sodas, bro. I just started thinking about it too. Like they'll be like, we don't want to make this anymore. We're just not gonna say anything. And
I think they honestly should do like an MVP and like kind of, you know, like y'all say, call it a day and have like a specific sticker to the World Series, like have the MVP, maybe even have it. This might be sounding a little weird, but kind of like how they do the Chase Jackie Robinson, like of a gold. I think that would be cool. You know, that's just my thoughts.
I think the only like, you know, like to give, I guess, the good side of this, I think the only thing that I could see a positive coming out of this is that someone who maybe doesn't collect Funko, but is a diehard Dodgers fan, sees this come out, it has all these players, they're able to get 5 of them in one shot, they're in a box, they're probably going to go after this. It's obviously being sold on like Fanatics and those websites where you're going to look to buy your World Series hat or your hoodie, and then you're going to see these pops. So it's going to kind of lend to them. But I think us as being like diehard on the Funko side of things, we're the ones that are kind of judging it a little bit more because we like collecting sports as well.
Do you think it's
And
worth the $100?
I mean, you're
That's
getting
the
5 pops, but like, no, like, so I collect favorite teams pops. Like,
Yeah, you're a
obviously for
perfect
baseball,
example.
I get almost every one I can get from like players that I really like, regardless if they're not Yankees. Football the same, and basketball I'm like kind of like I don't have as many, but between football and baseball, I get tons of stuff that are non-Falcons and non-Yankees, but not if I don't need a 5-pack of this. Like, this makes no sense. If it was just Freddie Freeman or just Ohtani, like maybe, but like no, like it's too much. It's too
So
crazy. But like I said,
$100 is too much then. So that's how much it is, I believe.
yeah, it is $100. So $100 to a like non-diehard fan of that team, yeah. To a regular collector, that doesn't make sense. Like
No,
I
agree. Doesn't make sense.
But
Like
if it was one pop and it was even $30 or
kind of like
something,
the Jason Kelsey, I think that would be cool.
and it was like special,
or like a pre-order.
It came in a case, exactly. Like that's 100% what they can go with. That'd be totally okay with.
Yeah,
it's just a trophy. They did it with the NBA, so you can have.
It's just funny though because I mean I think we're saying this just totally right here. The Yankees won the World Series. I'm pretty sure Migs, you're buying that 5-pack, right?
Yeah.
Mets win the World Series. I'm buying that 5-pack. But I'm buying that Freddie Freeman Funko Pop from my collection. Maybe this is a bad example for Migs. He probably won't want that Freddie Freeman Funko Pop. But if it was another team and another example, probably would get it. Like it's just
like if the roles were swapped, right? If the Yankees won, and let's just say Aaron Judge was not asleep the whole time, then you know, and he was the MVP. I'm sure. You know,
I hate the Yankees, and I would still have bought the single one just because I think it's cool,
especially if it's every year, because that's a collection that you can add to.
Exactly.
It's not
when
like
I was a kid,
I agree.
I used to collect World Series fitted hats. Whoever won the team, I stopped doing that, but I used to do that. It's just a fun thing, and I think Funko lends so perfectly to that. And they're thinking, like you said, $100. We're getting all these Dodger fans to buy it, but they're not thinking smart where they probably would actually make more money on that single Funko Pop, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But I think we can probably move on from this topic now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we kind of went on a rampage left on that, but I mean, I think the only other really we wanted to kind of touch on was some NFT news, anyways. So we can kind of close up the episode with that. But you know, we obviously talk about NFTs, the latest drop. We did have one recently, which was on Halloween, the Funkoween drop. Just quickly, you know, we can kind of go over that. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't love this one. The last two, I really, really loved. They were some of the best drops I think Funko did. I think this one was good, and it had kind of its better pops, and some weren't. But overall, I just wasn't as excited. I think overall the whole community wasn't as excited. I know it did sell out, obviously, because it's not as many packs, and it still is one of the better ones that they always come out with. But NFTs in a weird space, I feel like, with Funko. I think Funko in general obviously is, and NFTs just kind of tied into that now. Where clearly they fixed a lot of the stuff that we used to always complain about, but I don't know. It's just, I don't think we're even as crazy hyped, and we're getting all these drops like we used to back in the day. I'm on the point of where like I'd rather pass on the drops, and if I like the pop, I'll just buy it specifically separately afterwards. So I don't know if you guys are in the same boat, but I know we got some packs. I did pull one legendary pack that I got, but
I think I agree with you. I mean, I'm definitely. It's just funny because my cousin was just like, "Dude, going after Beetlejuice." I'm like, "No, I'm not." Unless I am a super hardcore fan now, I'm probably not going to go after the drops. The Funkoween I consider being a huge fan of because it's in the Freddyverse. But even that, I mean, those are kind of hard to get. If I'm being honest, it did sell out pretty quick. But I didn't pull anything, which freaking sucks. But I then, like you said, I have some money left over on my drop account. I went and got like the Judy Pop that I really wanted. And these ones aren't even going for crazy value like Funkoween always does.
Yeah.
So, but to go back to even like Meg said in the beginning, I liked this drop, but it was the weakest of the Halloween ones, and we have on record have said that that is like the greatest drop of the year. And now I feel like when we do our what were the best NFT drops for the year, this ain't gonna be it. Which is that's also that says something like what's going on. They the whole thing they went with like the ghost investigators was like a weird thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I've said it too before that unless I'm truly a fan of it, I'm not gonna get anything unless it's like Series 3 of Ninja Turtles. I'm gonna start that. Until that comes out, I'm gonna say that all the time. I did try for the Funko Ween. I got one pack. I didn't get nothing. So yeah, I just kind of again FOMO. I was like, let me try. I was able to get a pack, but didn't get anything. I know I saw the Beetlejuice. It has again. I know I've said it a few times, and I've said it in our chat. There's a lot of movies I have not seen, and I've only seen parts of Beetlejuice. So yeah, NFTs for me. Unless Ninja Turtle Series 3 is coming out, that's unless there's something else. But yeah, it's very rare that I'll probably buy anything.
Yeah, it's hard to get excited over it now. Like, still like them, and I like the concept of them and everything, but it's in the point, I think, with all of us where it's like it has to be a super fandom that we really want to go after. Beetlejuice is something that like I do like. I really, really, really like that royalty, but
the royalty is sick.
It is a smaller one too. There's only 4 total redeemable pops, so it is kind of interesting that Beetlejuice is a pretty big name, and they're going to go with like the smaller route. So I'm sure that'll sell. But yeah, the royalty more than anything, and they did kind of go with niche and like specific characters, but
which is cool.
And then I think after that there was announced we're going to get another Batman 85th anniversary, which they keep running with that. The only thing that I like about it is that they do go completely different routes with it. So it's just interesting to see what are they going to go with. Yeah. Like it's not like they're doing the same line with just different pops in that wave. Like they're clearly switch it up completely every time. So now it's like, what version of Batman are they going to do this time? So it's like, what else can they do that maybe will be exciting? Because they've done a lot of them already. But I guess we'll see. And once we'll figure that, I'm sure that'll come out pretty soon.
Any predictions?
When's Beetlejuice? Next week? Or is it this week? No, it's not this week.
I think it's next week. It's the following. Yeah, it's next week.
Do you have any predictions for the Batman?
I don't know because we already got animated series type Batman. We got Dark Knight style Batman, like the Nolan verse. We got the last one was kind of more like a comic booky thing.
Yeah, they've all been comic book besides the actual Nolan ones.
The Nolan one, yeah. Which, I mean,
but those were an actual Dark Knight. That wasn't like the 85th or whatever.
No, it was actually Dark Knight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so which this is obviously going to be in the comic realm. I'm sure it won't be the movies. Like it'll probably be more.
I feel like
comic related, but
go with. Well, because even though it's the 80, I mean, they're celebrating it as anything for Batman. It doesn't.
Yeah, it could be.
I feel like it's going to be the movies. If I'm like
the old
I
series,
feel like I think it'll be like
the Phantom Menace.
No,
or what is
Star Wars.
Star Wars, not the Phantom Menace. What is it? The Phantom or whatever? Dude, I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about the comic,
you're talking about the animated movie. That would be legendary.
What was it?
I think. Oh my God, this is
Phantom.
now bad that I'm not going to.
It was with Phantom though, not Menace.
See?
Batman Phantom something. Yeah,
I remember that one.
I'm losing nerd cred right now, but I'm not going to look it up. But because I my thought was, it'll probably. I think they should have like, okay, this represents the first Batman. Then we get one from Batman Returns, Batman Forever, like Batman, like just a bunch throughout the movies. And it doesn't need to be Batman, but it could just be any of the characters.
It might be something like that.
They've done too many of the comic versions, I feel like, to do it again, but
yeah,
I don't know. But Funko always surprises us.
Yeah, especially with the NFTs. So we'll see. let us know. What do you guys think about anything that we spoke about?
Yeah.
It's a pretty hefty episode. Obviously, a lot of Thrilljoy front heavy information. What are you guys thinking about the Mega PIX? Are you excited about them? Do you go after them? I feel like it's very mixed. There's still a lot of people who hate it, think it's too expensive, think it's too big. It's going to be like that. But if you're a fan, let us know, regardless, down below if you don't like it. Your thoughts of the price increase, all that kind of stuff we talked about. Anything that's coming up? Are you excited for any of those picks that are going to be coming up like soon? And then obviously anything in the Funko world that you got excited for recently, definitely let us know down below. You guys can kick it off with the rest of the stuff or to follow us on all the goodies.
Obviously, you should be following us at Collector Chatter on Instagram, and also at Collector_Charlie, at Pop_Migs, and at STX_Collectibles. And if you're listening to us on podcast platforms, obviously, shoot us a review there, follow us on those platforms. Then I'll head over to YouTube, as we always say. Subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. It's free. Exactly. It is free. And make sure you slowly. We are. Help us get to 1,000 before the end of the year.
Yeah,
I actually think it's a realistic goal.
It is.
So help us do that, please help us.
Future
pumping
guests,
out shorts.
We got some exciting stuff coming up.
Yep, we have some exciting stuff coming up. We're gonna have some guests. We're gonna be bringing back that chatting with series where we're gonna have different creators come on, just because we want to change it up a little bit. We like talking to people. And as you can see, the news is getting a little stale, even though I know everyone does like to come to us. And, even y'all, you can see it on those Instagram pages. There's something charming about us all talking about it. But yeah, and as Meg said, make sure you're shooting down those comments. We always answer. We don't leave any comment unread / even if it's a bad comment, we still reply one way or another.
Collecting is the way.
Professionally. Yes. But yeah, so I don't know, Trey, you got anything?
Just share the content. If we have questions on the Spotify, answer the polls. Let us know what you think. Just feel free to also here on YouTube, let us know, what you want to hear more of, what you collect, because we also want to know. I know we all collect Funko, we collect Thrilljoy. I want to see what other collectors actually listen to us outside of those. Yeah. Right? I'm sure there's Legos. I'm sure there's card, collectors like Lorcana or whatever, however you say it. Maybe other designer toys. I don't know. Let us know in the comments what y'all collect outside of just Funko. That'd be cool to know.
I do like that because that'll give us something else to talk about and maybe something else to spend our money on that we don't want to spend our money on. But yeah, so, and as you see, we've been pumping out those shorts. We kind of like to make these funny, just meme type shorts now because, they put smiles on people's faces. But yeah, so once again, as always, collecting is the way. Until the next episode, later.
Peace.